All right, everyone, how's it going? I'm going to do a quick video, just a side video, only talking about Facebook. And I might throw in Apple just as another example, but I had a viewer, Ace, ask a question saying, how do you know when to get in on the daily higher low? How do you know when that higher low has been established? So for executing Facebook, I'll go over exactly what I'm looking at. In general, Facebook, as you all know, has been on it's been on a daily downtrend ever since that gap down from way back in July. So, go with the trend. The trend is your friend. And we've saw a downtrend for several months, right? About 6 months, lower highs, lower lows. So what I would be looking for at that point, once we're in that downtrend, is when is the daily trend going to change? In essence, when are we going to start seeing higher highs and higher lows? And so the first sign of that happening was actually over here, when we went past this daily lower high, right? So, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low. So, downtrend is fully intact. You start creeping up, and then all of a sudden we break that resistance. So that would have me interested in Facebook, right, when that happened. And of course we came down, and this actually marked a higher low. And then boom, huge gap up. I think that was earnings. But what I am looking at is to establish a higher low in relation to this level down here of 142. And as you can see, I clearly have not marked the bottom and selling at the top. What I'm trying to do is go with the trend, reduce as much risk as possible, and capture a decent move. So right now, we established that higher high with that gap up. A little nervous with the gaps because stocks usually like to close gaps, but right now we have been on a, every day has kind of been coming down, nice consolidation, and I'm looking for a higher low to form if this uptrend is to continue, and so I can ride that next wave up. So let's go into to find this out. I got to go in the hourly time frame, right? So here's that gap up, and then we started getting to an hourly downtrend once we broke this double bottom level right here, which was over here when it broke. But in essence, it's in an hourly downtrend. So once that hourly downtrend shifts to an hourly uptrend, that's when the daily higher low will be marked, right? So we'll start to see that bounce on the daily time frame once this trend shifts. So on this hourly time frame, right, we have lower highs and lower lows consistently, right? We have not had a situation where boom, we have a nice little pop up on the hourly time frame going past several hours of resistance, right? So for example, if we want to get really close in here, again, we're on the hourly time frame, we're setting lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower low, right? Lower high, lower highs, lower highs. So really what would have to happen, first step, if we want to see this trend change, maybe a break of Friday's highs, which would be 162. So it's all this stuff kind of can be applied to any time frame. Like I said, on the daily time frame, I was watching the daily downtrend with daily lower highs and lower lows. Now we're zooming in, we're zooming into the hourly time frame. So once we start to see, maybe if Facebook has a nice run early next week and we beat especially these levels right here, 162, 163.71, 164.15, right? If we had a nice little run on Monday or Tuesday, that would break hourly resistance levels, which would likely, then the odds would shift to the hourly trend changing to an hourly uptrend. So of course, if we broke those resistance levels, we would have to see a little bit of consolidation, form a higher low on the hourly time frame, and then continue to hourly higher highs. And once that happens, zoom back out to the daily, that's when you would see on the daily time frame a daily bounce start to occur. And no, this stuff is not perfect, but there have been several setups where I go in on an hourly trend change and it works. And if this daily uptrend is true and does have power behind it, and we are just continuing this daily trend change, then there could be some significant upside. So if we do continue the uptrend and go past this previous higher high of 172, we could be looking up to, who knows, maybe even 190, 188. I'm not too good at predicting, long-term trends many months out. I just play, when is this hourly trend going to change? And when it changes, I hop on and then ride that little wave up. And so, for example, if we start to do bounce, right, we start to bounce up, that hourly trend would be in an hourly uptrend. And what happens if all of a sudden that hourly trend is broken and it shifts to an hourly downtrend? Then that means that, we're not rocketing straight up to that next daily resistance. We could be coming back down. So I'm more short-term minded with these trades. So for example, let's see what Apple's doing. Ooh, okay, so here's another example of the hourly trend. So with Apple, as you saw, it had, same thing as Facebook, had a nice run up, and then it consolidated for several days sideways, and this is really healthy consolidation. And I go to the hourly time frame here because and this gives you clues, right? I would be leaning towards bullish in this situation because, consolidating, then pretty much going sideways, and we set an hourly high right here, right? Lower high in retrospect all the way over here, but still a high, consolidating, boom. Then we have another higher high on the hourly time frame. So this is actually slightly trending upward, which is bullish in my opinion. So I zoom out to the daily time frame and say, okay, what's going on? And then, from the daily uptrend, again, we changed this trend when we broke the last daily lower high, which was right here, came down a little bit, boom, and we broke it. We established a higher low in relation to this low and this low down here. And then we just grinded up to a higher high on the daily time frame, consolidated, went sideways for several days, and you can see that on the hourly time frame. And I think we're actually going to start to go up and very well break 175. I think Apple has a better chance of breaking 175 in the short term than Facebook. Oh, that's not Facebook. Facebook isn't just going to rocket all the way up to 172 in a couple days, where I think Apple will break its last daily higher high soon. So that's what I'll be looking at on Facebook for that hourly trend to change. And once it does change, once we break those hourly resistance levels, right? So once we start trending upward, higher highs and higher lows, that's when I will get in. And I won't even nail the bottom of that hourly downtrend. I'm only going to get in when that trend changes. So that's it. Hope that was helpful for you guys, and have a good night.